Leon Millard, great to have you on the Always Better Than Yesterday interview sessions. How are you, my friend?
Hey, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Very well.
I'm very well. You and I connected at the start of the year. Your company was hosting a networking event, and I remember coming into your offices and just looking around like, wow, like places like this exist in Trowbridge. Like, what's this about? And I know that you're a local guy from Trowbridge as well. And there's something within me that's curious. I love to learn from those doing great things. And it's taken a while to get you on the show, but I'm really looking forward to asking you my curious questions to get underneath the skin of your mind, your leadership, and the culture that you've created in your business. So I hope you're ready for my questions.
Yeah, I think so. I apologise for it. It has taken a little while. And, to be honest, I think you saying I'm busy is probably a bit of an excuse sometimes. As you know, I'm not one for public speaking and things generally anyway. So I guess despite the bold kind of character that I deploy on LinkedIn and social media, I think secretly, I kind of keep myself head down to the outside world. Of course, I'm very comfortable with my own team, but this is new territories.
Who is Leon Millard and what does he do?
So I am many people actually. I've realised, and you change, a bit of a chameleon, I guess. In life, you have to be like that, I believe. I mean, I've now accepted the job title of CEO and the kind of responsibilities and the professional side and the expectations that I put on myself to lead a team. Essentially, it's a big job title. I've never been one for job titles, actually. I mean, the company we run, as you know, has a very flat hierarchy. So job titles always seem a little bit over the top sometimes. But, I think it's a good way of at least showing, displaying what it is you're looking to do. And then, of course, the important thing is fulfilling on that. But that's my work job title. Of course, I am also husband, dad, friend, and all the other things that we have. And for me, as cliche as it sounds, kind of health and happiness is number one. Actually, the business, as big as it is now, is kind of the icing. The cake is actually everything outside of that. But of course, it's got to the stage now where they kind of go hand in hand, they're intertwined. And I think my kids, despite I've got a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and a 19-year-old. So, but funny enough, the baby doesn't know too much about what it's all about. But I think even toddlers now do actually, because they probably heard the name WebCreation UK at some point. And yes, it's a big part of the family life view, because the way I am with the business and my family is actually not too dissimilar. And I've always been a bit of a character. I win my children over with silliness and messing around and all the kind of fun stuff. Thankfully, my wife does all the smart things with educating and keeping on top of all that side of things. So I just get to play the silly role, which I quite enjoy. And I guess I kind of do that a little bit in the office as well. I mean, you don't have to, if you're leading a successful team and showing people the way forward, you don't have to try to look like the person you're supposed to be, because it speaks for itself. I've always had this thing about, it's a bit of a respect thing. If you go looking for people to try and be like, oh, I'm the CEO, talk to me like I'm the CEO, then they're going to think you're a bit of an idiot. But actually, if you just get on and do things, then they automatically look at you in the way that perhaps some people would like to be looked at in that role. So yeah, I think it all kind of crosses together. So many things am I.
So you've created this beast called WebCreation, which you're a Trowbridge lad, and I find that really inspiring to see that you and your friends and colleagues will have built. Tell us a little bit about, for context, the things that WebCreation doing, where you're based, and I'd love to hear the kind of origin story.
Sure. So as you said, we're based, or head office is in Trowbridge, but actually we, as you know, have people all over the world now. So we are very much a remote working company in the way we're set up. I'm probably going to fly about all over the place with this particular question, by the way. So despite the fact the head office in Trowbridge, and I live in Frome now, or near Frome, but yeah, obviously the head office is in Trowbridge. We've got people now nationally up in Leeds and Liverpool, Birmingham. We've got people in Eastern Europe, in Serbia, Romania. We have people in India, so over in Asia. We have people in Pakistan. We have a team. We have another office in the US, so in Arizona, which is again another like localized office. So sales and things happen over there. That allows us to run the US operation. We are branching out into Australia this year. And basically, although I am quite patriotic and proud to be British, etc., I think in this small world, you can utilise the skills and resources all over. So, you know, what we're trying to do is offer a very high-end product at a relatively low-end budget, which was, you know, to take the question back to the start. So when I was looking to start the company, I didn't have any money. You know, I don't come from a wealthy background. I was working for a local IT company, which also had a web design department, of which I was involved in the graphic design side of things. I was very much into my music, as I still am. I was in a band then. Had my first child when I was 20. Did a lot of things in life very, very young, and basically was just about making ends meet with the working and family life. I mean, my partner then, on a very, very low income, and things were difficult. It was a struggle, and it's funny, because actually back in those days, I think people just saw me as the very horizontal. I've got quite a horizontal personality sometimes, quite chilled out. Yeah, actually, I'm extremely on the ball. Normally, it's just my persona. So I think I kind of was already in this position where I just felt like I was just going along with it. Like it's fine. I know what happens tomorrow and the next day. I just plod along. It's easy. And then things got more difficult, and I decided I needed to take a second job. So there was a cleaning position at the company I worked for, which I opted to do that. So I was cleaning the offices a couple of times a week, hoovering carpets, cleaning bathrooms and toilets. And I remember being there with the Dyson, thinking, I can do better than this. This is not the way. This is not working out how I expected. I'm doing this because I need the money. I believe I'm smart enough that I could at least go freelance. And that day, cut up some credit card. Built up a good kind of £40,000 of loans and credit cards. Decided to snap all that up. Let myself get into that stressful pickle for a little bit, and then find my way out. And actually, the thought of starting a real business, as I would call it, was extremely daunting and scary. So I decided, well, actually, let's just go freelance, or let's just do just myself. I can handle that. I'll just do some designs for people, do some web development. Came up with a name. I realized from looking around on Google that actually back then in particular, and still a little bit now, it was very smoke and mirrors. Go down and sit in a glass office with an illy coffee, and pay a premium. And you don't really know what you're getting until you've gone through all the conversations. And to have those conversations, you have to pay for them anyway. Well, I didn't really like the idea of having to sit down with anybody, because I was actually quite nervous and shy back then. So for me, the phone was the best, the best of the worst, and email was actually much more preferable than doing it online. So when looking on Google, realised everyone was called things like Pink Sheep and Fluffy Armadillo and weird names like that had nothing to do with the industry, with what they did, but obviously it was very cool and trendy. And I thought, well, actually, I just want to say what it is on the tin, as they say, web creation. As opposed to just web design, creation sounds a little bit more arty. I'm going to go with that one, web creation. The domain name web creation was gone, so I stuck UK on the end of it and thought, well, we're in the UK, web creation UK. Of course, it's got a great ring to it now, because I know what it is and everybody that's involved in it, but that's often the case with names. So started doing a little bit of work on a friend's website, but was very low value. And then looked into Google advertising and found out about Google AdWords, the pay-per-click advertising mechanism, which I knew nothing about at the time and was fairly new, but was the ultimate delivery vehicle for how the business started. I think I went without dinner for a few nights and managed to save myself £30, which is my spare advertising budget. In fact, my entire spare budget. Put that into Google, linked up a phone number to my mobile, and remember taking my very first call from an inbound lead, and was extremely excited. Jetted out the door of where I was actually working, took the phone call, made the sale, built the website. It felt incredible. It was like £700, I think was the first site we did, and it felt, I felt rich, if I'm honest. Instantly got the money that I made from that and invested it back into Google, and that kind of spiraled up quite rapidly from spending £30 a month to spending £3,000 a month. At this point, we're doing kind of 10 grand a month turnover, and I'm thinking, well, this is good. I can quit my job, which I did, and I ran it from my home office for just over 12 months. I can't remember the exact time scales, but probably around 4 months in, a good friend of mine, or best friend at the time, got involved. He was working for a company in Westbury, a garage. He was also very design orientated, so I decided to get him in to do that while I did the kind of business sales side of things. And within the first year, we'd already hired our first Indian developer, which actually came to me, someone just on a forum, poached for some work, and I thought, why not? Try it out. And actually, they were great. And that guy still works with us now, has a team of 50 people with him, which is built off the back of what we've done. So yeah, within kind of probably 16 months, we went into the office, our first office in Trowbridge, which was funny because you could probably house about 30 people in there, and we had 3 people in there. It was all very exciting and new, so the place was a bit run down. So I remember spending a bunch of weeks doing it up with the finance director, who's still there now, Sam. Got it up to scratch, hired a couple of other friends. Luckily, I had friends that were all into similar things as me, had a tech kind of background, and just pushed hard. I mean, I think our first challenge was customer service, because we were all about stacking the sales up, which I think is important for any new business. And it was a little bit like, well, we'll keep selling. In terms of organised delivery, we've got guys overseas that are doing the work. We're managing it from here, but there was kind of a few people managing all aspects of the business. And it wasn't until we started to build up, 100, 200, 500 customers that suddenly we realised actually we're going to have to make some serious changes because of customer service and go down the pan otherwise. And yeah, I mean, probably within a few years, within 3 years, we were up to like 20 staff. And we did our first £1 million turnover in 12 months. And it just flew from there. We've now, as you know, moved into our new headquarters in Trowbridge, which we're very proud of. Obviously, strange times, everybody knows, with offices and things. And I won't go on to that bit too much. I'm sure you're going to ask me a question about it anyway. So yeah, it's been a bit of an adventure.
I love how you've gone from 30 quid ad spend to what I saw this week was your £250,000 on ad spend. Is that right? Have I got that right?
So it was a £250,000 turnover. So our ad spend is now significantly higher. I think we're up to about 65,000 a month we spend with Google right now. And we had our first £250,000 turnover last month. And actually, in fact, the previous month, so May, that was our biggest turnover. So we did it two times in a row. So we're on somewhat of a roll right now. And yeah, we've adjusted things dramatically since COVID kicked in. So yeah, the business is, as you know from LinkedIn, we're recruiting a lot right now. I mean, we're an aggressive company in terms of we want to be the leader. We don't see us as a Trowbridge company. We don't even see us as just a UK company. We see us as a global company. And we want to be somewhat of a household name when it comes to digital marketing, which is funny because actually when I started the company, I remember the place I left and a number of people including someone that would be happy to share this now, who's one of our leaders in the sales team, was my boss, and they kind of predicted that I'd be back within weeks or months maximum, which for me, that's where my aggressive side comes out. I think it was just like, right, well, I'm going to prove a point here because I'm not having that. And I think from, issues back in school and things, have given me this very much a fight type of character, which is funny because I'm actually extremely laid back and don't like confrontation. But as I said to someone the other day, I think that's what we've had some interest from various businesses in buying the company, and an agent who's potentially involved in those things, noticed how well things were going, and asked me questions about COVID-19. And I said, I think the thing is, after the initial hit, I went into this kind of 3-day psychological coma kind of thing, where I was out of action. It wasn't like me. It's only happened twice in the business, and we've been around for 15 years. But I think I just completely collapsed in my head. And then it was something then that that's where the fight kicked in. I was like, this just can't happen. I'm not having it. We're not letting this beat us. In the same way, I've never been in any scraps or anything in my life. I was walking down the street and someone tried to mug me when I'm with my family. I'm like, it's turned into a ninja. So I think it's just that kind of passion kicks in for the things you truly care about. And I do have a circle of things I truly care about. And obviously the business is very much high up there.
With setting up a company, growing it, scaling it, leading over, how long have you been in operations now?
15 years.
So over 15 years of experience. And what have you really learned about yourself and your leadership?
I think I've learned that I've basically stayed the same person. So I've always been a heart on my sleeve type of character. I'm a very emotional person, very creative, particularly with music. Come from a creative family anyway. My brother's an incredible graphic artist, and there's always been a lot of creativity in the family. So I think all that is always there. I've also learned how much you can stretch your kind of mind, if you like, from what may be a small thing initially. You can actually beef it up in the same way you can go to the gym and lose weight or gain muscle or whatever if you commit to something. I'd never have expected me to be in a position like now, being interviewed by you about the success story. And I think sometimes I don't even realise we're actually in that success story, because you're just kind of doing it every day and enjoying it and moving with it, not thinking too much about it. But I've realised how much I've matured and expanded my knowledge in general. The amount of things you take on board with all the people you're hiring. There's so many personalities involved in a company, and you have to think about things in many different perspectives, which I probably didn't once upon a time. I remember back when I was, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, and I was really into heavy metal and rock music. And so friends of mine were into like Oasis and Blur and indie music, and I was just like, no, can't listen to that. So, and I can't listen to anything you're going to say about it because it's just rubbish, and all I'm into is my heavy rock, and that's the way it is done. I think you can't have that kind of way of thinking when you work with many people, or even a few people. Yeah, with your family, anything, you've got to be willing to take on other experiences and thought processes and personalities, which is a big part of the business. So I guess I've learned that actually I've got that ability, which I didn't perhaps realize I had back in the early days.
What does it mean to? Yeah, man, it does. What does it mean to you? I know you touched on this a bit earlier, but what does it mean to be the CEO?
It's definitely a responsibility that I enjoy. For me, it's just about leading and having, you almost like playing a parent role. If I said to you, what does it mean to be a dad? And I imagine you probably say similar things to myself. When I get up in the morning and seeing their faces, that genuine, like everything they want to see is just there, bang, they're just so happy, like daddy's awake or mummy's awake, daddy's awake, we can play, cuddle, talk about what happened the night before, what we did the weekend, just and it's really genuinely exciting. And I trust and believe in this person that he's told me we're going to have a great weekend, and I know we're going to have a great weekend. So I think for me, it's exactly the same with running a business. It's having people, so they look at you and they think, where are we going? What, I say to people, we're going to go and do this. We're aiming to do 300,000 this year after doing 250. No one thinks, don't be ridiculous, because actually, thankfully, I've managed to get myself into a position where I've proved and have the trust of my team, in the same way you do with your children, that they're thinking, no, Leon said this is going to happen, and therefore I believe it's going to happen. And by believing that thing, suddenly it just opens them up, whether it's your children, they're going to be happy if you tell them they're going to be happy, we're going to have a happy time. The team in the office are believing we're going to have a great time, we're going to go and hit great things. With the people just recruited recently, I've spoken to, so we've hired, 9 people in the last 6 weeks. And 4 of them in the last few weeks, and 2 of them in the last week. And one of the guys has now been here for about 10 days. I spoke to him for the first time on video chat yesterday. I kind of stay out of the way for a little bit in the very early start and let the other team that take over those training areas. And I just said to him, how's it going? How's it going? How are you feeling about everything? And he was just so happy. And so he just said, this is the best thing I've ever done. I can't believe it's even better than you said it was going to be, which I laugh, because I do sell the dream when I speak to potential new members of the family, as I call them, because actually I want them to know how I feel and how passionate I am about where we're taking this thing. And that is all about being the CEO. It's making them see this thing that you can see. I feel it, I know it, I believe it, it's done, it's concrete, it's solid. But these are people that have never even met you or your ideas before. So I'm there trying to express to them how this is going to happen. So I've got to be a bit careful, because I want to make sure I'm telling them how great it's all going to be, but equally we've got to make sure we live up to those expectations. So to speak to this guy that's been with us for just over 10 days and to hear him say how it's even better than expected, and you just know that actually what I've said was just the right amount. He's heard everything of where we're going to be, he's passionate, he's loving it, but actually there's even been some extra nice little bits that he didn't even know would be there. So I think, it's just guiding people and being that go-to person. But again, it's a reciprocal energy. I think I've said this to you before, but from days of being in bands, you go on stage, you're super nervous, you start playing the first song, the crowd's static at this point, then suddenly they're clapping, cheering, maybe singing some songs, chucking themselves around, having a great time. That energy comes straight back to the band. They want to put more passion in their thing, so it goes back to the crowd and vice versa. And that's exactly what we do with web creation. My kind of passion, I throw it at the team, they throw it back to me, it just bounces off each other. Possibly sounds a little bit cliche, but absolutely is what happens.
Yeah, love that. And as I said at the very start, around this environment that you've created, this real, I don't even want to use the word modern, it's just a great working environment. And what is important to you about the culture of web creation?
The culture is, actually it's interesting, this is changing a little bit as we get bigger. One thing, a friend of mine has just sold it now, but run a huge company, hundreds of millions. They had an incredible culture, and I was always impressed how they managed to keep that culture whilst they got up to 500 members of staff. And I guess companies like Google and Facebook and things have a similar thing going on. It's quite easy, I believe, to have not a good culture when you're only a few people. As you take on more and more, things get a little bit more serious, a bit more, dare I say, professional. But you want to keep that culture that's there. So we've got this work hard, play harder kind of mantra that we have splashed across the back of our bar in the office. And back in the early days, work hard, play harder basically meant really rally the team up, absolutely go for it. We're only in our 20s. Let's go out on the weekends, have a great time, party hard, enjoy life, buy nice champagne, that kind of thing. Work hard, play harder. But actually, as we've matured and developed and we're now older and we've got children and there's families and everything else, it's exactly this kind of statement still exists. But I was talking to one of the new guys and I said, work hard, play harder for me is, and this is our culture, is work hard. Yes, we work hard, we work smart, we put in 110% all the time and some. You just keep sweating. The same. I've got one of these Peloton bikes. Sometimes you're like almost towards the end and you're thinking, I just can't do any more, but I'm so close to my personal best. And somehow, I don't know how, but you just find this extra bit of strength and energy, and you push on, sweat a bit more, and you do it. So that is the work hard bit of it. But also the play harder is everything outside of that working hard part. So, the 9 to 5:30, I don't believe in. I don't care when people start, finish. People in our business work all over the place, whatever suits them, and more so than ever in this current climate. But play hard could mean going out with your friends, going to cinema, making sure you're smiling all the way, making sure you're talking about nice things together that you did. Remember that time when we went and did this, and so forth. It could be going out with doing stuff for the children. I laugh when you put your Instagram post on with you having fun with the kids. You start doing the play harder that Leon mentioned. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so this weekend, I mean, it's Friday, so tonight when the children are home from school and nursery, hopefully the rain will keep off. We'll go on the trampoline, probably get one of the sprinklers going. Should be watering the grass, but it's going to be watering them. Playing harder, It could be just sitting on the sofa watching TV is playing harder. That's actually playing really hard as far as I'm concerned, because I rarely get to do it. So if once the children have gone to bed, I can sit down with my wife, watch a film or something like that. For me, I'm playing really hard. It doesn't sound like you're playing hard, but it's just my mind is enjoying something that isn't to do with work, but I can do because of the benefit of putting in the maximum effort when I'm in work. So that's our kind of work hard, play harder culture. And we just try and instill that in our DNA of everything we do and the way the team connect with each other.
Yeah, I love that, mate. And I think something you touched on earlier around COVID is that I think in the next few months, it's going to be really common for people to be asking about COVID stories. What's your COVID story? And I'd just love to know what your COVID story will be.
Yes, another. I mean, we do these networking events, as you know, and you mentioned how we met, and they're great. I love talking to different people, and often people will ask about my story, and obviously they know it's held at our office, and they know that I'm the CEO, so they want to ask me some questions. So I've told that story a lot, and actually I've never been bored of telling it because I'm super proud of it. It's a good story. I think having a story is a big part of being able to go on and go further, because you just continually writing your story essentially. Mm-hmm. And I like things to keep going. I don't like the thought of something coming to an end or even in a circle. It's just keep going, making these new parts of the story. So when COVID came along, I immediately thought this is going to be a huge part of our story, one way or another. And it was, as you know, very, very rapid when things were announced. And essentially we shut the office quickly. Within almost minutes, but I'll go with hours because it probably felt like minutes, of things being announced that everything was about to go seriously downhill. We noticed that our leads that we pick up that are a vital part of our business had dropped by 95%. Very quickly we reacted. Now, it's a difficult thing to do, but I put a 15% pay cut in place for all of the staff, all the management team, directors, etc. We also furloughed a bunch of the team, which wasn't fun. None of that was fun. It was super unenjoyable, and it's very hard to be walking past a sign that says "work hard, play harder" when you're furloughing the staff and putting pay cuts in place. But because the team believe in what we do, they believe in me, we believe in each other. No one kicked up a fuss. It was all taken. This must be needed because that's where we are, and we have trust and faith in who we are and what we're looking to do. So I was very lucky the team was accepting of that. Within the first week, business remained extremely low, and I actually did think, is this going to be the thing? I'm hearing that you see people even now like your John Lewis's and EasyJets and massive multi-billion-pound companies struggling. You realise, just like the last recession, but even more, this can take out anyone. There's all the health side is obviously horrific and something else, but I'm not in that part of the world. I'm in business and in people's livelihoods and all that kind of thing. So my thing I need to do is to look after the business. And the 5th or 6th day was when I just kind of crashed and just was like, no, it's all going wrong. I don't know what to do. And as I said earlier, this kind of complete mental blockage and just vanished, in quotes, off the face of the earth for a few days. And we had we had a summer house built, which I know you've seen at the middle of last year. And it was a nice thing to splash out on. You know, we've got a nice hot tub in it. We've got lovely views. My staff know about it. They'll be using it at the next summer family barbecue. And it's just a nice thing to look at. I like to be able to sometimes do something that is going to bring good experiences. It's not just about going, well, check out my hot tub. It's about, this is going to give my family great experiences together. It's going to allow my team at the company to better come and enjoy it with me. It's a great thing, and invested some money into it. But when we did it, it was all about relaxing. The whole idea behind this is an indoor-outdoor space. It's about shutting down and just chilling out and having fun and, you know, enjoying life, basically. Little did I actually realise, as I said to the guy who helped engineer it the other day, that this was actually a major part of keeping web creation going in a kind of powerful way, because it's actually become my office. So you're bubbling away in the background as a hot tub. I'm sat over in the corner. It was never designed for this. So I've got a wallpaper table actually right now in front of me, and a garden seat, and my iPad is sat on it. And this has been my office for the last 3 months. But it was just a really good place, because actually even in the office, because we have a very open door policy and people just come and go as they see me, and they can hear you on the phone. There's a different type of focus and energy in the office, more energy than focus. And it's a little bit more scattergun, whereas this being here for me, I'm just in complete silence in the countryside, middle of nowhere, really could focus. So I put all my energy and focus into where are the bits of the business we can make work, what things can we pull out, not get too het up over the things that are shutting down. And we did that. And actually, the other thing is, I've always been a risk taker. It's easy to be a risk taker when you're in your 20s and you've got less things that rely on you, and children and your financial obligations and things. But risking where I am now is actually, it's a much higher risk. But when it comes to the fight, I still will take the risk. And I thought, instead of cutting back on advertising and all those kind of things that people are going to be looking to do, no, I'm going to actually invest in advertising. So we pushed advertising, and we pushed the kind of business generation side of things, wound down other parts. And as it happened, things started to come back to life pretty quickly for us. And then we just as I said earlier, we rode that wave. We didn't stop. We need to go, actually, we're making some good money now. Let's just, and we are in coronavirus, and who knows what's going to happen. Let's just bag some money in the bank and just like kind of shore up and just stay safe. We didn't do that. What we did is we just started profits started going up, margins were good, bits of the business started to fly. We hired new staff. We unfurloughed people. We hired more staff. We looked at where we can change things. Where can we improve customer service? Where can we go back to customers and help their businesses be more successful from the things they can do online, which we're not currently doing because they were always a back burner. This is a big idea one day, but we're too busy running the business right now to actually do them. So it was a great time for us to be able to look at things at a completely different angle. And we did we've been hugely successful with it. And it is a pat on the back to the whole team. We have, someone said to me, they call us Corona proof, which I kind of feel like we feel quite invincible right now, actually, team. We're seeing such growth in all areas. The reviews, check out our Trustpilot page. We've got such incredible reviews coming in, and all that stuff really matters. Happy customers. It's that reciprocal energy, whether it comes from me to the team, from the team to the customer, from the customer back to the team, back to me. It's great. And so Corona's gone from what was business-wise for us a terrible thing to allowing us to try new ideas and perhaps take some risks that we wouldn't have taken before, and it's really very much paid off.
Yeah, hats off to you, my friend. And I know that you've had offers to buy the company, and you said this on LinkedIn, and you turned down those offers. Why? What's important to you about not selling the company? Why not? I
think there's many reasons, to be honest. one simple one is I think I'd actually go insane if I didn't run the company. You know, and I guess the actual fun part is I do enjoy my job. I enjoy it a lot. And actually, yes, money is the scoring system in life for most people. But actually, I said this to you at the beginning of one of our original meetups, that I left the office, I remember a few years back on a Friday, and people were drinking beers, someone was playing guitar, laughing, having a good time. I had to go back home on time that night. I smiled to myself just thinking, how cool is this? These guys are staying, as they do regularly now, in the building, having fun together, enjoying this lifestyle that is created from this business. So that's a huge one for me. There's an obvious one, which is the company's just nowhere near where I know it can be. Mm-hmm. We are tiny right now, really. As I said in an email to the team at the end of last month, when we hit that milestone, this is just the start. So for me, I would hate to look back. But yeah, there's a risk. We could go under tomorrow. Stranger things have happened in the world of business. But as a team, it's not about how much money we've got now, we're going to make, or what's going to happen like that. Because I've got so much faith in the team now. We've passed 2 major recessions. You know, we're in the middle of one right now, I guess. We're doing so well. We did so well in the last time. We're very much a force to be reckoned with. And it kind of just proves that actually I've got such great people around me. There's no reason why we can't take it a lot further. So I'm not fearing those things. So yeah, I mean, selling the business for millions of pounds, of course there's some kind of appeal there in terms of the cash you get out of it. But again, I'm lucky. I've got a nice lifestyle. I love my family life. We're all smiling. We're happy. I don't feel like I need anything. Yes, we all like getting toys every now and again and going on holidays and things. I'm very fortunate for what I have. I'm very much believe in rewarding others. You know, my favourite thing is about doing an appraisal with someone and seeing them do well off the back of that. I love seeing the team evolve. I love the fact that I'm sat there since eating my dinner, and I just randomly think about how we've got 100 people over in India that all have families and children like I do, and they all have their lives, and we're a huge part of that all the way over there. We've got people in the US. I've been over there a number of times. It's 44 degrees right now in this crazy kind of alien planet, and yet I can sit in the office and hear someone say, "Good afternoon, WebCreation US." It just gives me a huge buzz. You know, seeing challenges that you get. I love the challenge. This challenge we're in now, I like being challenged. So for me, all of the fun and the game and the thrill of that is a good enough reason to keep going with it. From a sensible, professional, in quotes, boring perspective, we're going to be a lot bigger. So of course, I'm going to just take the business to that place. So yeah, we couldn't really be farther away from being in a position to be sold, because we're not looking to sell the company. Who knows what will happen in the future, but all I can focus on is what I feel right now, and that is just to keep growing the business, keep hiring to the team, and keep making it an awesome place to be part of, and the lifestyle that goes with it.
Awesome. What's your take on always better than yesterday? What does the phrase always better than yesterday invoke within you?
I wonder if you might ask me this question. I haven't prepared for it. I think there's a lot of things that you can think about when you say always better than yesterday. The obvious one, of course, is just about upping your game and be always looking. I wonder if anyone's ever had every single second of a 24-hour day where they can say they were happy for every single second of that day. And I don't just mean happy like, yeah, I'm quite happy. I mean ecstatically happy. I don't know if that's actually ever happened in the world, but if it hasn't, then that's what you should be aiming for. And in which case, always better than yesterday. If you only just make one more second of happiness because of whatever it may be, work, home, money, walking in the countryside, whatever it is, then you've been better than yesterday. So perhaps if you do that for your whole life, you might get to that point of having 24 hours every second.
Love that. How can people connect with you? Who should be checking out WebCreation?
Every small business, medium business, large business, anybody looking to be successful online. We do appeal for everyone. We do websites for bands. We do Google marketing for lawyers, solicitors. We do tree surgeons. You know, just everyone you can think of. we deal with. And we particularly excel at holding someone's hand and making it a success. It's not just about delivering them, ticking a box and saying, yes, I'm online now, that's that box ticked. It's about helping them become what's happening with us. It's about helping push our work hard, play harder onto their business, so they can play harder, because hopefully their online business is working hard for them, which obviously we're a big part of.
Love that. Happy days. I've really enjoyed our chat, mate. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And I would just love you to leave us with a final thought from your good self.
Oh, final thought. My final thought would be just to be true and honest with everything you do. And it's something people can relate to normally in physical relationships more than anything. And honesty and being truthful with each other is a big part, but I think you can apply it to everything. And I think in particular with yourself inside, believe in what you're going to do. I think that if you don't believe you're going to be great, then you probably won't be great. And if you believe it, it's far more likely to happen. Nothing's guaranteed, but you stand a much better chance just to keep looking for that. Whatever it is, print it out, stick it on the wall, look at it every day, and then go for it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Cheers, Ryan. It's been great.